This is my second video update coming to you from Nicosia, Cyprus. This is going to be another early evening news update because we have got a lot of stuff to discuss. Let's kick things off with the Russian Energy Week Forum in Moscow, which took place this Wednesday, and Putin gave a speech at this forum because that is what a country and a world leader, that is what they do when they are losing an existential war, an existential conflict to Ukraine and to NATO. When that is taking place, a country holds an energy summit. That's what a losing country does. And Putin, well, he found a couple of hours in between doctor's appointments because he's suffering from all of these ailments, according to the UK Sun and the Daily Mail. And he found a couple of hours to get up out of bed and to address those in attendance at this energy forum. I believe earlier in the day, he carved out an hour or two, also in between doctor's appointments, to meet with the leader of the United Arab Emirates. But this is what Putin said with regards to Russian gas compared to US LNG and Nord Stream 1 and Nord Stream 2, the sabotage of those pipelines. And cui bono, who benefits? This is what Putin said. Everybody understands who is behind this and who is the beneficiary. One can now force the liquefied natural gas from the US onto European countries on a much larger scale. Putin pointed out that the US liquefied natural gas, LNG, is definitely less competitive than Russian pipeline gas due to its higher price. Regarding the explosions on the Nord Stream 1 and Nord Stream 2 pipelines, Putin said, quote, "All the facts have been proven and documented, and the ideologues and the sponsors of those crimes are their eventual beneficiaries, those who profit from instability and conflict." Who stands behind the sabotage of the Nord Stream pipelines? Obviously, those who are looking to completely sever the ties between Russia and the EU, undermine Europe's political sovereignty, weaken its industrial capacity, and gain control of its markets, Putin said. They are also those who have the technical capacity to carry out such explosions and have already resorted to such sabotage. Were caught red-handed while doing so, but avoided liability, Putin added. Well, Putin is basically saying that, he's saying that the United States did it. That is what he's pretty much saying. Tremendous opportunity, according to Blinken. Not only is he pointing the finger at the U.S., he's saying that they're the ones that benefit by severing ties between Russia and Europe. They're the ones that benefit by being the ones that ship U.S. LNG to the European Union. He also says that only the U.S. really has the technical military capacity to carry out such a sabotage. So I mean, Putin is pretty much, we understand what he's getting at. And Anthony Blinken first came out, the Secretary of State for the U.S., when the sabotage happened, and he said that it's in no one's interests what happened with the pipeline sabotage. But then a couple of days later, he changed his tune and said, well, actually, this is a tremendous opportunity for us to get LNG to the European Union. So, cui bono, I guess, is the theme of Putin's speech at this energy forum. So that was Putin, and he was addressing the crowd in Moscow. Sweden has said that they're not going to be sharing any of their findings during the investigation of the Nord Stream 1 and Nord Stream 2 sabotage. They said that Russia is, they said they're not going to share their findings with Russia. Sorry. They said they're not going to share their findings with Russia. That is what the Swedish Prime Minister Magdalena Andersson said as she was speaking to reporters. But Prime Minister Andersson, outgoing Prime Minister Andersson, she did say that Russia can come on in and carry out their own investigation. Of course, she understands. She knows very well that she has to say that for various legal reasons. She doesn't want Gazprom, which is an owner of the pipeline, a shareholder of the pipeline that was destroyed. She doesn't want any types of legal action from Gazprom via EU or the US or the collective West to take place. And so she says, yeah, Russia is free to investigate, but I think we all know that Sweden and the collective West will never let Russia just stroll on in to the Baltic Sea, to the Swedish exclusive economic zone, these areas, and carry out an investigation. Of course, if you're Liz Truss, you probably believe that the pipelines are in the Black Sea and not the Baltic Sea. Remember that when Liz Truss was asked about Ukraine and the Black Sea, and she confused the Black Sea with the Baltic Sea. Anyway, that is what Sweden has said with regards to the investigation into the pipeline sabotage. Now we have another incident at another pipeline. This time it's the Druzhba pipeline, an oil pipeline that delivers oil from Russia, I believe from Russia, through Ukraine and into Hungary, Serbia, and many other countries in Europe. I believe one of those countries is also Poland. And the Polish operator, PERN, P-E-R-N, they said earlier today that they discovered a leak on the Druzhba pipeline section, which supplies Russian oil to Germany. So I guess this takes the oil all the way from Russia to Germany. And I know that it does. These pipelines, they do cross Hungary and Serbia and other countries as well. And I believe that this was one of the pipeline routes that Zelensky shut off way back, like 3-4 months ago. Zelensky deliberately shut off one of these pipeline routes in order to stick it to the European Union because they weren't giving him money or weapons or something like that. And the clown puppet actor, in a fit of rage, he he turned off the pipeline to send a message to Europe. And of course, Europe did nothing. They just sat there and took it, which I guess the U.S. was looking on as Zelensky turned off the Druzhba pipeline back then. And I guess the U.S. looked on and said, boy, these Europeans are really feckless and weak. You can kind of step all over them, can't you? If Zelensky can get away with this, I wonder what we can get away with. Anyway, the rupture was detected late on Tuesday by automated systems on one of the two strings of the pipeline, some 70 kilometers from the town of Plock in central Poland. The company said in a statement on Wednesday the damaged half has switched off immediately and the other string continues to operate as normal, the company said. At this point, the causes of the incident are not known, Hearn said, adding that its staff and firefighters were deployed to the site to assess the situation and secure the area. There are no grounds to suspect that the leak on the pipeline was a result of sabotage. Matthews Berger, Poland's top official in charge of energy infrastructure, told Reuters, "Here we can talk about accidental damage." That is what this Polish official said. Transneft, the Russian operator of the Druzhba pipeline network, has confirmed that PERM notified it about the leak. The Druzhba pipeline is one of the largest oil transport networks in the world, spanning some 4,000 kilometers and bringing oil from Russia to Ukraine, Belarus, Poland, Hungary, Slovakia, Czech Republic, Austria, and Germany. So I said Serbia. I guess it doesn't bring oil to Serbia. Maybe I'm mistaken in what I said there, but I was under the impression that it did, because you did have a Serbian official. Let me pull it up. The Polish official, he is saying that this is not some sort of sabotage. But 1 second here, one second, bear with me, because we have the Minister of Economy of no, I'm sorry, the Deputy Prime Minister of Serbia. He said that the cause of the leakage at the Druzhba oil pipeline was sabotage. That's the quote that I'm getting. And the Minister of Economy of Brandenburg said that there was a pressure drop in the Druzhba main pipeline number 2. Okay, so the Deputy Prime Minister of Serbia believes that the leakage of the Druzhba oil pipeline was sabotage. I don't know, I have to double check that quote. So don't take that one to the bank. But if the Polish official who's in charge of energy transportation, if he has come out with a statement saying that this was not sabotage, at least the initial assessment is this is not sabotage, let's take it at that and say that this was an accident and this is not sabotage. But still, quite a coincidence, isn't it? Actually, Hungary and Serbia are building a pipeline connection, something along the lines of the pipeline connection that I talked about a week ago when I was in Ayia Napa, that Bulgaria built with Greece. Serbia, in order to secure its energy supplies, was in talks with Hungary to build a pipeline connection from Hungary to Serbia. I think it was going to either connect via connections in Budapest or another city in Hungary, something like that. And they were in discussions to figure out a way to bypass oil and gas from Croatia. I actually believe it was gas from Croatia and or maybe oil. I don't know, maybe both. But Serbia was looking at a way to bypass Croatia and work with Hungary because of the EU's price caps and sanctions. They've really put Serbia in a difficult position. So perhaps it's an accident, perhaps it's not. Let's wait for some more information to come out with regards to this pipeline leak. Let's call it a leak for now. And since we're on the subject of oil and energy, let's talk about the Biden White House and their anger at Saudi Arabia. MBS, watch your back. Watch your back, man. I really, really feel like a regime change is going to come your way. The White House is willing to revisit ties with key ally Saudi Arabia. U.S. President Joe Biden is reevaluating the country's close relationship with Saudi Arabia following a decision by OPEC Plus to cut oil production. National Security spokesman John Kirby revealed on Tuesday. I think the president's been very clear that this is a relationship that we need to continue to reevaluate, that we need to be willing to revisit, Kirby told CNN in an interview, adding that the president was willing to work with Congress to determine what that relationship ought to look like going forward. The official stressed that time was of the essence, insisting the reevaluation was not anything that's going to have to wait or should wait, quite frankly, for much longer. Not only are the U.S. interests in Ukraine at stake, but its national security as a whole are imperiled, he said. Oh boy, reevaluate. Reevaluate to me sounds like regime change. Color revolution, regime change. MBS, watch your back, dude. Be very, very careful, because the Bidenopolis White House, they've got a target on your back. You need to be very, very careful. So let's talk about another plot, sabotage plot, perhaps, definitely, coming out of the UK. And this was an investigation from the Grey Zone, the team at the Grey Zone that do awesome work. amazing work at the Gray Zone, Max Blumenthal and Aaron Mate. And they got some documents which I don't want to say they point the finger at, but they kind of hint at UK intel involvement in the Crimean bridge bombing. Attacking the strategically vital Crimean bridge was clearly not a new idea for Ukraine and its anti-Russian allies. In fact, UK intelligence officials reportedly commissioned a study in April examining ways to blow up the key transportation link across the Kerch Strait. The secret plot was drawn up at the request of senior British Army intelligence operative Chris Donnelly, the Grey Zone reported on Tuesday, citing internal documents and correspondence that the investigative journalism outlet obtained from an unidentified source. The stated goal was to destroy the bridge, to cut off a key Russian supply route, isolate military forces in Crimea, and temporarily block maritime access to the Sea of Azov. The attack roadmap was titled Audacious Support for Ukraine Maritime Raiding Operations, and it was produced by UK military veteran Hugh Ward, according to the documents obtained by Grey Zone. Donnelly, who's also a veteran NATO advisor, called the plans very impressive indeed. I'm going to put a link to this Grey Zone article. Give it a read. It's pretty interesting stuff. And they definitely point at some UK intel involvement. And Russian intel, well, they've come out and they've named the chief suspect in the Crimea bridge attack. Russian Domestic Security Service, FSB, has announced arrests over the attack on the Crimean bridge. It has also revealed details of the alleged Ukrainian terrorist plot, including its mastermind. The agency accused the Ukrainian Main Intelligence Directorate, the GUR, of the Ukrainian Defense Ministry of being behind the explosion, which damaged the strategic structure last Saturday. It claimed that Commander Kirill Budanov was personally responsible for the operation. Russia has identified 12 individuals as suspected accomplices in the plot and has arrested 8 of them, the FSB said. The list of people in custody includes 5 Russians and 3 foreigners who have citizenship of Ukraine and Armenia. Now, let me tell you about this plot. Let me get into how this all went down according to the FSB. The FSB claimed that the deadly cargo came from the Ukrainian city of Odessa. The explosives were disguised as rolls with plastic construction film, which were shipped on pallets and weighed 22,770 kilograms, the statement said. Investigators said the shipment left Odessa in August and went through Rus, Bulgaria, to Poti in Georgia. It was then moved to Armenia, a country which has a free trade agreement and a relaxed customs regime with Russia. It was then imported into Russia via Georgia on October 4th, according to the timeline. The transportation paperwork identified a non-existent firm in Crimea as the final recipient, according to the Russian agency. But the set of documents was only the latest of several used to disguise the movement of the cargo, it added. Wow. So this was quite an operation that went down. I wonder if this was the sole work of Ukraine intel, or if there were other intel agencies involved in this plot and aiding the Ukraine intel services to sabotage the Crimean bridge. That is the latest with regards to the sabotage of the bridge in Crimea. Let me do one more story, and then I'm going to wrap it up with the clown world. Since we're talking about sabotage, let's talk about a Politico article that came out the other day and states that the U.S. is angered with Ukraine over the car bombing of Dugina. This is a very, very interesting story. The U.S. government had misgivings about Kiev's tactics following the car bombing that killed journalist Daria Dugina in Moscow region, Politico News website has claimed. The assassination of controversial Russian philosopher Alexander Dugin's daughter on August 22 left American officials, and I quote, angered. The article published on Tuesday said, to deter Kiev from making similar provocative moves down the road, Washington intentionally allowed details of the plot to be made public in recent days, Politico reported, citing an unnamed official. Last week, the New York Times reported that U.S. intelligence officials believe Dugina's assassination was authorized by parts of the Ukrainian government. The New York Times article cited anonymous U.S. officials, claimed Washington was not involved in the hit in any way, and would have opposed the operation had it known about it in advance. Now, Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov said it might indicate, this revelation might indicate a positive development. The Russian official also noted that Moscow really wants to hope that this is not some attempt by the American colleagues who may possess certain information to distance themselves from responsibility for future terrorist attacks that the Ukrainian state may be preparing. So, what do you think? What do you guys think in the comments down below? Are U.S. officials, by coming out and condemning Ukraine for the assassination of Daria Dugina, are they being sincere? Is this a positive development? Is the United States signaling to Russia, to Moscow, that they had nothing to do with this assassination, nor do they condone these types of terrorist attacks against Russian citizens? Or is it, as Peskov noted in his statement, is this some sort of way for the United States to deflect, to distract away from information that they may have in their possession with regards to additional assassinations or sabotage plots that Ukraine is hatching? What do you guys think in the comments down below? With that being said, I am going to wrap up this video. This was a very technical video in a way. I read you guys a lot of articles from various publications, but I just wanted to kind of update everyone as to what's going on in the news, because we have a lot of stuff that's happening right now. Things are moving very, very fast. Let me try to find a clown world here so I can wrap up this video. As I'm walking and talking, the sun is going down in Nicosia. This is a beer house. Beer and beer. This is where I should be. But I'm going to actually walk to a coffee shop to get this second update uploaded. And everyone asks, where are the people in Nicosia? You see? There are people hanging out, drinking a beer. There's some life in Nicosia. Some life. It's not a very lively city. Let's see. Do I have a clown world? Come on, clown world, clown world, clown world. How about... Okay, how about this? In the center of Kiev, Ukrainians demolished the bust of Pushkin. They demolished the bust of one of the greatest poets and authors and intellectuals to ever exist, Mr. Pushkin. In the center of the Ukrainian capital, local nationalists demolished a monument to the great Russian poet Alexander Pushkin. In Kiev, a monument to the symbol of the Russian world, Alexander Pushkin, was dismantled in the center of the capital. Yeah. Of course, you got to demolish statues. Is the collective West becoming more like Ukraine, or is Ukraine becoming more like the collective West? Or are they just kind of merging and melding into one postmodern, woke dystopia? It's hard to tell anymore. So, that's the video. I will leave it there. I do have a story, but maybe I'll talk about this in another video tomorrow. let's see here. Do I want to talk about this story? It's basically about the reforming of the Azov regiment. I haven't been able to confirm this just yet, but allegedly Azov is reforming, and even the commanders who are in Turkey at the moment, they're putting this all together, and this force is going to be deploying very, very soon in Ukraine to take part in the conflict. I haven't been able to confirm this story, so I'm just going to I'll throw it out there. I don't know if this is accurate or not. This could just be FUD. FUD stands for fear, uncertainty, and what else? Fear, uncertainty, and something else. What's the D in FUD, everybody? My mind is mush. Right now, my mind is not working too well, so I'm going to probably get an early evening coffee. I'm going to wrap up the video there. TheDuran.locals.com. The Duran is also on Rockfin as well, and check out the Duran's channel on all of the platforms. Check out Alexandra's channel on all of the platforms. Take care. Fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Fear, uncertainty, and doubt. FUD. Take care, everybody.